So ahead of International Women's Day on the 8th of March, Laureus has decided to put together this fantastic panel of people to discuss some of the issues that women in sport are facing and just the way that sport can play a role in changing their lives and addressing those issues. So let me just briefly introduce the panel to you here, although of course they're all very well-known names. Michael Johnson, Laureus Academy member. We've got Tanni Grey-Thompson, Academy member and Vice Chair. Missy Franklin, Laureus Ambassador, not yet Academy member. We're working towards it. And Ruth Holdaway, who works for Women in Sport, which is a UK charitable organisation addressing those issues that really affect women. The first subject that we're going to start with is the voice that women have in sport. Are women in sport at present more vocal, do you think?
I mean, I think it's been really interesting sort of the last year and looking back. So, you know, for us having hosted the Olympics and Paralympics in 2012, from a British team perspective, it was called the Women's Games because of the number of women's medalists and, you know, just how it felt like a turning point. But if you look at a lot of the work Ruth's doing in terms of sponsorship and media coverage, it's great around Olympics and Paralympics, but then it falls away. And we're making these little steps all the time. But I don't want to be saying in another 10 years' time, well, we've moved a little bit further. You know, I want for a lot of the young women coming through sport now, for there to be equality of sponsorship and media coverage and them feel that they've got a voice.
Is it, though, perhaps typical of society in general that women are more vocal, that women feel that they have more of a voice and more of a place to assert themselves?
In general, we don't see as much women's sport on the television. We certainly don't see it reported in newspapers. In the UK, for example, only 10% of all the coverage of sport is women's sport. But for example, again, in the UK, we've had recent legislation effectively that we now have to have 30% women on the board of the national governing bodies of sport, because it's been recognised that unless we put something in place that's going to help drive that change, as Tanni was saying, it's just going to take too long for the change to come, and sport needs to represent society.
Different women feel empowered to come forward, that you don't just have to accept what's given to you and how you're treated. But I don't think we should forget how difficult it is for a lot of women to come forward, because if you're seen to be the one who's raising your head above the parapet, then it's quite easy to get knocked down. Actually, women coming together is really important. But we've also, it's not just about the women speaking out, it's about the men speaking out. So when they see inequitable treatment, you know, it's about men saying, no, this is not right either. Where I think I see a big difference is some of the younger female athletes that I see. They're just not willing to tolerate some of the things that maybe some of the athletes in their late 20s, 30s or my generation, you know, just go, oh, well, that's just the way it is. We just need more women to, you know, to have those different role models.
Lots of young boys talk about wanting to work in sport, and girls just don't even think about it as a career. They just haven't realised that. And girls generally, certainly from the research that we've done in schools, shows, you know, girls just aren't even thinking about it actually.